But another state, let's hear from those residents that had a few things to say.
Wike has no right again to disturb any person in the APC because this man have already changed his party to APC.
Wike does not have any power to tell him anything because he's not an APC member. His only APC member can tell him whatever thing he's supposed to do. So as you can see, Bashir have all right to tell Wike that he has no right in Rivers State to say anything because he's not an APC member.
If Wike was not appointed or put same as the governor of Rivers State, it doesn't mean he has rights to interfere in the matter of APC. APC is a political party, and whatever agreement Wike had with Sam Fubara, that was a PDP. Now that Sam has switched to the camp to APC, I think whatever agreement they have is cancelled.
Both Basiru, both Wike has the right because this state is not one man state.
Okay, so the Bashiru in question, well, the FCT minister issued a warning to the National Secretary of the APC, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, to stay out of Rivers politics following Bashiru's public support for Governor Sim. Wike gave the warning while speaking to supporters in Oyibo local government area on Monday. He says Rivers State is not open to political interference from outsiders. The former Rivers governor warned that the support of Rivers leaders for President Bola Tinubu should not be taken for granted. Of course, in response, the National Secretary of the APC, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, asked Minister Wike to resign from his ministerial job over his obsession with Rivers politics. In a statement, Bashiru said Wike has no right to interfere, so that's what people are responding to. He has the right, he doesn't have the right. But again, like the FCT minister said, the ticket for 2027 is non-negotiable. Like others have responded, it is very negotiable. At this point, it's only 2027 that will answer for itself, to be or not to be. Very quickly to our next headline, President Bola Tinubu sent 2 letters to the Senate asking them to confirm 21 nominees for the boards of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. In the first letter, he nominated Senator Magnus Abe as the chairman of the NUPRC board. Other nominees for the board include Paul Yaro Jezi and Sunday Adebayo Babalola. Both will serve as non-executive commissioners, while executive commissioners were also nominated. In the second letter, President Tinubu nominated Adegbite Ebiowei Adeniji as chairman of the NMDPRA board. He also nominated Chief Kenneth Kobani as non-executive member. Well, this is good. Definitely sounds like good news. And some Rivers people will be excited at this, considering that their son, Senator Magnus Abe, is a part of the mix. We're going from that to resumption. In line with directives from the Rivers State Ministry of Education, most public schools resumed on Monday, that's yesterday, for the 2025-2026 academic session. Teachers were present in many schools, but student turnout was low, and no formal classes were held. Some private schools are yet to resume, although both public and private schools observe environmental sanitation activities. Meanwhile, findings by Nigerian Info show that several public schools are still collecting levies from new students despite the state government's free education policy. At the community secondary school, Rume Precom, now SS1, students are required to pay a total of 45,500 naira for uniforms, PTA and security levies. At state primary school, Rume pupils are to pay 19,500 for uniform, PTA dues and sportswear. Well, the state will need to look into that. If it claims he has a free education policy, then it truly should be free. Now, for the directive to resume yesterday, I'm not quite sure why the Rivers State Ministry of Education thinks or thought that was a good idea, right? Because even if all the teachers show up, the kids will not. That's a fact. And I'm not saying it because I'm for or against. It's just commonsensical. Yesterday was the 5th of January. The ability of the kids to resume is dependent on the readiness of the parents to release the children. There is no parent I know that spent the whole of December, maybe went to a village, came back, or whatever the situation is, whether you traveled or you didn't travel. Most parents are not ready to have their kids start going to school on the 5th. Most parents. People are still trying to recover both financially, spiritually, morally, psychologically. And early resumption means daddy has to start thinking of the money he's going to pay earlier than necessary. Offices are still slowly opening. There's a lot that people are still trying to get back into the groove of. So, I don't know how the ministry sat down and say, you know what? The first Monday of January, let's just open school. And I know that you might have, some very smart people on that board, or if there's a board at all that even sat. But it was a bad idea. That's a fact. And I say that because, one, I'm a parent, and two, I've been a student. On either side, I'm looking for one reason how this made sense to anybody. The students would very likely resume in the second week. Where the idea of December has gone, January has started, things are catching on, parents, small money is coming. That's when it makes sense to resume. As a matter of fact, I know that many private schools had told parents and kids that 12th is when they will resume. So this whole, as we are just landing, January open 5th, everybody open school, teachers. My dear, it will take a lot. That quote is, you can force the horse to the river, you cannot force it to drink. It will apply here live. And it's not because anybody wants to disobey, but in line with common sense. It just works that way. Unless the state government is going to go house to house and then tell the parents, so release your child, let's take them to school. If that doesn't happen, schools will resume well next week. It's that simple. You're welcome. And I think some of these ministries need to be reaching out to people like me to advise you, all the special advisors, senior special assistant on this one. I don't know what all those people are doing. We are the ones that will help you to know your left from your right, your front from your back. Because imagine that they called me and I say, Sam, when do you think? I said, thank you very much. I don't know what people are doing here. From my technical and professional experience, foresight, insight, and sight, what I see, let me not just give it away so that, those that want to reach out will reach out, because there's just too much to give. Finally, former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua is considering retirement from boxing following a fatal car crash in Nigeria that killed two of his close team members. Strength coach Shino Gami and personal trainer Lateef Ayodele, they died last week near Lagos. Joshua's uncle, Adedamola Joshua, in an interview, said the 36-year-old informed his family of the decision, saying the emotional toll of watching him fight had become too much. And I mean, I don't blame Joshua, right? I really don't blame him. You lost two of your friends. You came back home. Many people want to blame Nigeria. Yes, I'm sure we have a share of blame in that accident, but the driver has questions to answer. So it's going to be difficult for him to get his groove back and get into boxing. If he's ever going to do that, it will take some time. So close sources, family members and friends saying Joshua is considering heavily retirement. Yeah, definitely. I can obviously see why that would be the case. And usually what happens, like it plays out in the movies, is if Joshua takes his very long extended leave from boxing and now decides to go back, maybe 6 months later or 1 year later, or however he decides, you now start hearing that he's dedicating his victory to his friends that he lost. Maybe he will now design a chain with their faces, or, do something just to honor the memory of those that were beside him. But it's difficult to be in this position, and I hope that he has the strength the fortitude to bear the loss. May their souls rest in peace. Some updates on that. I think Joshua had reached out to the families. Yes, he had pledged lifelong support to the families of the deceased, attended an emotional funeral at the London Central Mosque on Sunday. So yeah, he's very much by the side of the relatives of his lost comrades. Well, finally, this is just a mention, right? The Super Eagles defeated Mozambique 4-0 on Monday to qualify for the quarterfinals of the African Cup of Nations. Osimhen scored twice. Ademola was on fire. In fact, the entire Super Eagles. I saw the game from beginning to end. And I have to tell you, I was proud to be Nigerian. I was just excited. I know that watching a Super Eagles game, even for the ones you're sure they would win, there's always some tension. It's uneasy. You don't know. Somebody will make a crazy mistake and we're chasing the game. But from the beginning to the end, it was comfortable. The Super Eagles were dominant. They were devastating, daunting, domineering, right? They were just super in every sense of the word. At no point were they at risk of anything. And listen, I'm not the biggest football fan. You know that by the way I talk. I just have enough interest to know that the shape of the ball is round. But Iwobi was not human yesterday, right? I don't know if he's on something, but if he normally takes something to perform, I'm sure he had an overdose of that thing. The passes, the precision, the connection, my goodness. I was proud. I mean, you need to consider that Nwabali, the goalkeeper, was still on his Christmas holiday. He did not get to work. And maybe, with the confidence of yesterday, I can say that maybe we would win the AFCON. The North Africans are angry though, but, you know, it's safe to start making those kind of statements from now. So well done to the Super Eagles. And if anybody sees Osimhen, I will just keep my thoughts to myself. Well, those who watch the game know exactly what I'm trying to talk about. All right, let's get straight to business. And business is you being a part of the conversation. The big stories. Wike declares 2027 ticket is non-negotiable. Tinubu seeks Senate confirmation for 21 nominees to Key Petroleum Regulatory Boards. Low student turnout as schools resume. And Levy collection persists. And Anthony Joshua considers retirement after the crash that killed his two friends. And this is just a mention. You may or may not be a part of that conversation. The Super Eagles demolished Mozambique 4-0 yesterday. The numbers are called 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0002. People are still sending messages on WhatsApp. Stethoscope. Thank you. Stethoscope. I got it. Thank you. Thank you. I know I can always count on you. WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. I believe we're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nigeria Info PH. You can watch, listen, and engage. Please turn off your radio as you call. Sam, the other day in Paradise, Wike declares 2027 ticket is non-negotiable. All I have to say is Rivers State will decide who will be governor come 2027 general election, because one man cannot decide for 7 million Rivers people. Thank God, Ability Atuebu says. Okay. Oracle, good afternoon. River State government, Ministry of Education should come out straight on the issue of free education in River State. PTA fee of 3.5 has been fixed for primary schools, not to talk about exam fees and others. Why are they causing problems between head teachers and parents? There is no free education in River State. Teachers are made to buy notebooks, markers, and others. Wike and his cohort should stop making categorical statements. They should be specific about their party, which we are confused. Is he in the PDP or the APC? Rigging aside, Sim can contest from any party and win. Some of us are solidly behind Governor Sim and will vote for him in any party he goes to, as Governor Sim has captured our fancy. Odimegu Sonny Didia from Omerilu says, okay, Clinton, who was my first caller yesterday, has also made himself my first caller today. Hello, Clinton. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Samara, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, let me start by thanking Mr. President for the appointment of yesterday, appointing one of the prestigious and indigenous son of Ogoni as chairman board of NUP RC. We say thank you, sir. Now, coming back to the political Cold War going on in River State, many persons do not want to accept the reality on ground that Nyesom Wike is an institution when it comes to Rivers politics. Me and you, we are not privy to information that they have. We are not even there when they had agreement who becomes who and who takes what. But today we have a governor of River State. Now they are saying that agreements were reached, first agreement and the reneged, separate agreement also reneged. Today the former governor is saying that the position of the governor is non-negotiable, and he is very serious about it. So, the APC National Secretary, I know his position as the National Secretary means that he has to speak for the party, but the Rivers matter is a very peculiar matter. Every state have their peculiarities. So when you have to manage the situation so that you don't escalate issues. Because now, what is going on can escalate the issues in the APC. And we don't want any issue in the APC.
All right.
Going to 2027, we want a united front so that the president will have a block vote, and I'm also sure that the president will have a block vote with this on weekly at the Home of Affairs.
All right, Clinton, thank you very much. Big John from Port Harcourt. Hello, Big John.
Good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon.
I want to comment quickly on Anthony Joshua's contemplating retirement.
Okay.
For me, I wouldn't want him to do so. I mean, we've seen this thing happen before. I believe if he continues fighting, at least his very next fight before he can even think of retirement, he will come back very strong and better. I remember this kind of thing happened to James Buster Douglas when he took on Iron Mike Tyson. It was just 13 days to the fight when James Buster Douglas lost his mother. He was already in Japan training for the fight when the news filtered in that he has already lost his mother. His coach at the time had to tell him, let them call off the fight because it was already bad enough fighting Iron Mike Tyson without the death of his mother. But when his mother died, he became an emotional wreck. They'll be training, he will excuse himself to the restroom only for his coach to go find him there, sobbing, crying, mourning the death of his mother. But when he finally stepped into the boxing ring with Iron Mike Tyson first knocked him down. And then he said when he was down, he remembered his mother, the promises, the prayers she made, the boast she said when she said, our son will be the one to put an end to Iron Mike Tyson's brutal reign. That galvanized him. It gave him the strength to get up and fight till he knocked out Iron Mike Tyson. It's a pity. I don't want Anthony Joshua to retire. I believe when he stepped into the ring to fight his very next fight, he remembered the death of his two friends and it didn't make him stronger. But on the last line, Sam, I blame Anthony Joshua for traveling with just one car convoy. For God's sake, this is Nigeria. How does Anthony Joshua travel an interstate travel from Lagos to Chadam, Ogun State with just a one-car convoy? For God's sake, if it were me, I'll go with a 5-car convoy. 2 in front, me in the middle, and 2 cars behind. That way, the cars in front will do the maneuvering before it gets to me. It's a pity Anthony Joshua travel with just a 1-car convoy.
Thank you very much, Big John. Well, first of all, I had goosebumps just listening to you. That was quite a motivational story. If you are not a preacher or motivator, please consider that you have your way with words that get to stir people. Secondly, the 1-car convoy, I'm not quite sure why that's a problem. But yeah, I get how that may have solved the problem, but it doesn't seem like the solution. Chima from Rumukuta. Hello, Chima.
Mr. Oracle, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Very fine, my brother.
All right,
Mr.
go ahead.
Oracle, I don't know if you've seen the book, The 33 Strategies of War, I think by one Robert. I don't know Robert Greene, whether you've seen that book, 33 Strategies of War. I think he's also the author of 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
Inside the book, I think there's a place he said, negotiate while you advance. I think so. That is one kind of strategy of war that he wrote there. That is diplomatic war strategy.
Okay.
And if you read that side of that topic, you will see that those that embark on that strategy, they don't keep to the negotiation or to the bargain. They will always come to negotiate with you while the war wants to go on. But as they're negotiating, they are advancing. Like when they come to your house to negotiate with you, they will look around your environment, see the places, your arsenals, then their boys, they will be giving them information before they will engage you in the night. Sometimes they will agree with you, no war, no peace, we are okay, we are this, and they will just go and wait for you at the marketplace. That is why my leader here Wike said that it's no negotiation again. I want to put it again because they have been negotiating and the governor has been applying this strategy. Those that apply this strategy, you can never hold them to their word. According to that book, maybe you can go and look for it and read that topic. They will negotiate. They negotiate all around. They will even go and negotiate somebody higher than you, so that person can subdue you for them and they will take on you. Now, if we come to the secretary of the National APC, National Secretary of APC, in his own state, he has been an APC, and he was there. The president now, which he's leveraging on now, lost the election in his state. So if everybody could not deliver that state, we have been talking. Now you're threatening some weekend by maybe letting him resign for the position the president gave to him. Was there some weekend in that position before he delivered the state to the president? I don't know how people are doing this whole thing. You want to make a man to regret of his own good deed. You understand what I'm talking about? Now when you're talking about agreement, it's an agreement. This is an antidote. You understand? To such aspects as I told you about negotiate while you advance. Because when the partner hit you, people will now begin to say, hey, leave them now, leave them. You will not agree. You have to speculate and hold that side that this is what he said, and I agree, and even he did to me.
Okay.
Then you'll begin to see this when you go and do when you have agreed like this. Otherwise, if you're keeping quiet what they're saying, you'll be going more and more and be hitting you more.
All right,
So
Chima.
the position of River State governor or government is non-negotiable. From today, you have to work to earn it. And
Okay.
you must earn it through the front door.
Okay.
That's so we can even go to the election with anybody get consider that position because Team
Thank you,
Life has
Chima.
shown us something.
Thank you,
He has
Chima.
shown us something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shown us something, my brother. Oh my goodness. The politics of rivers. I've said this before, and while it may have sounded like a joke, it is the absolute truth. If you're a creative filmmaker, videographer, documentary maker, you're into some kind of art expression that involves capturing visuals and working on non-fiction, please consider the political narrative of River State. You'll have an amazing story that will sell. Because in this case, reality is more intriguing than fiction. Walker Stanley on Facebook says, Wike declares 2027 ticket is non-negotiable if we have functional judicial institutions. Honorable Wike is supposed to be called for interrogation in conjunction with the claim that he single-handedly made Fubara a governor. This indirectly reveals that our elections do not count. He's speaking and acting as if he's a father and God of River State. Nwoko C. Stanley says on Facebook, Ugoji Mwobiebe says, you're correct. I'm not quite sure what he or she is responding to. Balogu says, many fun games to choose from. Okay, no, that's not for us. And Precious Nekabari says, Victor Osimhen overreacted yesterday. My problem with Wike and Sim is that they are taking us as children. They should come out and tell us what was the agreement. Then we can know who is at fault. Okay. We make a panel. All right. Good afternoon, Sam. Okay, I've taken that one. Good afternoon. With utmost respect, I find Governor Wike's declaration that the 2027 governorship seat is non-negotiable to be precipitous and perturbing pronouncement, redolent of an unyielding... Chukwamara, please consider my career. Intransigence that threatens to undermine the democratic ethos and imperil the aspirations of the good people of River State, whose interests and welfare ought to supersede individual ambitions. Chukwamara, I'd like to meet you in person just to know if you speak pidgin. That's all. That's all. Nobody plays God and nobody can take the place of God because only God can give power. Kelly says on WhatsApp, Wike's latest action shows that he is power drunk. We will see how it will end. Okay, SF Smart says, and I'm running through comments. Anthony Joshua contemplating quitting. As expected, not surprised. The accident and loss of his close friends are traumatic. On the issue of school resumption, seeing children resume yesterday was laughable to me. Normally, it's too early. Back in those days, even my mama go ask you, are you going to clean the dust on the chairs from the holiday? Resuming on 12th is reasonable enough. Thank you, Oracle. Victor from Oyibo says, all right, I have to go now. 4 o'clock is upon us. And remember, the major news comes up now because AFCON is right here. So stay with us.